What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to DSM Pregame Live, streaming to you here exclusively on DSM Media's YouTube channel. Phillies Rangers opening day is upon us. We're going to be getting to the lineup card, pitching matchup, X factors, best bets, all of that good stuff, and our predictions as the show goes on. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. While you're over on the channel, make sure you check out the link tree in our bio. It'll take you to every social media platform we are available on to be interactive on any of our shows, but more specifically here on the pregame shows. Make sure you are subscribed to that YouTube channel. Turn on notifications for whenever we go live, and it's the best spot to get your thoughts, questions, and comments pulled up. I am one half of your host, Dylan Davis. You can find me on Twitter at DylanJD98. To my right, you normally see him next to me on Turf Talk or Sixers pregame live, but today he's just as excited as everybody else for the Phillies to kick off their season. My man, Scotty, you can find him on Twitter at Scotty Drowned. My man, opening day is upon us. What is going on?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to have not only baseball back, but daytime sports as well. I love sports in the daytime, so baseball fulfills that for me. But I'm happy to be here at opening day, man. Coming off the season that the Phillies had last year, obviously that incredible run through the postseason. How can you not be excited to watch this team come out here and play? Obviously, we know the injuries that have kind of piled up over the last few weeks or so, include on top of the Bryce injury, of course. Right. But nonetheless, how can you not be excited with the additions that this club has made and just the excitement of baseball being back, man? That means spring is here. That means better weather's here, and brews in the sunshine as well. So all happy things today, man. I'm glad to be here with you.
It's positive vibes, right, man? I was saying earlier, exactly. I said to George Ryder last night as we kind of broke down our final predictions for this Philly season, opening day this time of year is like right up there for me in terms of sports and time of the season, right? Like you have the first weekend of football back is incredible. Yeah. You had the first weekend, the first 2 days of March Madness, always incredible. Yep. Opening day is right up there in that conversation. Like you mentioned, it's springtime, the weather's changing. It gets darker out later over here. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, man, let's get right into it. Like I said, sure. Phillies in Texas to open up this 2023 campaign. No Bryce Harper to start the year, as you mentioned. However, he is not on the 60-day injured list. Bryce is looking, hopefully, knock on wood, to be back before that initial all-star break deadline was set for him with this Tommy John surgery. No Rhys Hoskins. He's down for the year with the ACL tear. Let's start with our first segment of the day here, and that is the pitching matchup. Aaron Nola gets the start again for the Phillies. I believe this is his fifth straight or fourth straight opening day start for the club. He's earned it. He's deserved it. So it's always a fun time when Nola's on the bump. However, even though we're playing an American League foe, we still get to see someone we know all too well, former Met Jacob deGrom on the bump for the Rangers. Obviously, he signed a big-time deal with Texas this offseason. When I'm looking at this matchup, man, I got to be honest with you. As good as it is to have a Nola day, you got to give the edge to Houston here, to Texas here, right? That is the bottom line. But the biggest question mark also is Jacob deGrom's health. I have no idea what Jacob deGrom, this Phillies lineup, is going to be seeing today. I honestly have none. Like, you don't know if you are getting 7-8 innings out of deGrom, shut down baseball. Maybe one run gets squeaked by him from this Phillies lineup. I don't know if he's going to have, Hembo said to me yesterday, a kidney impingement in the third inning and have to get pulled. The guy has not played a ton of baseball the last few seasons. He played in 11 games last year, 15 the year before, and 12 games pitched the year prior to that one. His health is always the biggest concern, but when he is healthy, he is the most dominant pitcher in the league. And to be honest, this Phillies lineup, for as great as it is, does not hit Jacob deGrom extremely well, my man. Trey Turner, newest Philly. I know you're going to get to him later on in the show. He's had the most success. He's seen the most at-bats against Jacob deGrom. He's 11 for 46. He's homered off of him. 2 walks, 16 strikeouts for Trey versus deGrom. After that, It's lonely up there for Trey, man. Schwarber's 1 for 12. JT's 4 for 32 with 11 strikeouts. Boehm's 0 for 8. That's just the guys with a minimum of 7 at-bats versus DeGrom.
Right.
After that, you have Marsh 0 for 2, Costi 0 for 5, Hall 0 for 2, Stott 1 for 3. They do not see or feel Jacob DeGrom too well in the past. What are you looking at kind of in this pitching matchup?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. You got to tip your cap to DeGrom in this situation when you're thinking about who could have the better day, right? Who, if they both reach their ceiling, right? DeGrom's going to be the guy. But with all the question marks coming in with DeGrom, you have to ask yourself how many innings, what's his pitch count going to look like? How much are the Texas Rangers going to, stretch him today, right? How many innings are they going to take him into? But I guess I would pin the question back to you here. Nola, in these opening day type of situations, how has he looked in the past? Because my initial thinking coming into this, Nola's looking for a new contract. He's looking for some money, right? You need to come out and throw your best stuff. And I think you need to start the season fast in that manner. So thinking from Nola, when he's bad, he can be really bad. But if he's good, he can be your number one ace, right? When he's on his money. So I'm curious on your thoughts, just based on the experience with opening day specifically, coming out of the offseason.
As far as my memory serves me, I believe Aaron Nola's been spectacular on opening days. If you go back to last year, they played the A's.
Yeah.
They won big time in that matchup.
Yeah.
If you go back to the year prior to that against Atlanta, I believe you and I went on Easter Sunday to Game 3 that season.
Yes,
they caught a win there because they started the year 3-0. He was good there. I remember if you go back to Atlanta, the year that Bryce signed here, they won that game 7-4, if not more than that. So he was good on that day. Obviously, my mind always goes back to Gabe Kapler's first season as a Phillies manager. And he comes out and yanks Aaron Nola in the 5th or 6th inning after throwing like 65 pitches. And, obviously that was not his fault at all, but that was a big storyline here in Philadelphia for a while. Nola's been really good on opening days, if my memory serves me correct. But yeah, man, I think for him, you look at the matchup, you look at who is against you from the other dugout. You take that seriously when it comes to DeGrom, because to me, again, I said you're going to get to Turner later. I'm going to get to Nola later as to why he's so important and key today. You cannot dig yourself a hole early against Jacob DeGrom. So Nola has to come out and be on point to start this game. The Texas Rangers, I said that the Phillies have not had a lot of success or a lot of work against Jacob DeGrom. The Texas Rangers have seen almost nothing against Nola. They have two guys, being Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, that have had 4 at-bats against him. No one else has had more. No one else has seen more than 4 at-bats. Those are the only 2 with 4. After that, you have a bunch of dudes with 2 at-bats, 1 at-bat, no at-bats in the starting lineup for the Rangers today. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a chess match to see if Nola has the advantage there, or if these hitters have the advantage, because they have not worked against each other often, if at all, right? Nola's so intriguing because when he's on, as you just pinned it at, he's on.
Yeah.
He's also led the league in innings pitched and strikeouts for the last couple of seasons, and he doesn't walk a ton. The problem is Nola has issues. Nola has innings here and there in the middle of games where he can't miss bats, where he gets the 2 outs in a very clean inning, starting a game awesome through 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden hits a brick wall, hits a speed bump, and things derail. That's the Aaron Nola you cannot afford today.
Like a meltdown. Yeah. I feel
no meltdown innings from Aaron Nola today. All in all, when I'm looking at this pitching matchup, yes, you have to tip your cap. You have to give the nod to Jacob DeGrom because he is just the best pitcher in baseball when he's healthy. But with him being an unknown, with Nola's track record on opening days, as you pointed out, it's a lot tighter than a normal DeGrom start would be, right?
Exactly. And that's what I'm thinking here. Now, mind you, Nola could come out if he lays an egg on opening day. That would just be a very rare occurrence. So when you look at it from that perspective, yes, DeGrom has the higher ceiling, but is Nola the safer play here in a sense, right?
Right.
DeGrom has the question marks, right? Nola really doesn't.
Right. Nola's health is not a concern at the moment.
Exactly. So if Nola can give you a solid 6 innings today, maybe you do give the nod to him versus DeGrom on a pitch count. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting duel. Like you said, Nola's going to have to come out and bring his best stuff. And you should. It's the beginning of the season. You should come out guns blazing. That's just the way you should go. You should be looking to come out and start fast against this team. And like you said, you don't want to dig yourself a hole.
You know how I look at this matchup before we move on to our lineup card here? You and I
Yeah.
do Sixers pregame together. We've done Eagles pregame together, and fans crave, media craves. They all want that barometer test, right? Like when they're the Sixers, they're beating up on the Magic and the Pacers and the Hornets. It doesn't matter. I want to see them play Giannis. I want to see them play KD, right?
Yeah.
You're getting that day one. Now, yes, this Texas Rangers team struggled last year. We'll see what their lineup has, but this is Jacob DeGrom on day one. You want to see what this lineup can do? We start today, and whether it goes one way or the other, we're going to find out exactly what this lineup can put together against a very difficult opponent today. With that being said, let's take a look at today's Philadelphia Phillies starting lineup to kick off the 2023 campaign. Shout out to our man KC over here at DSM for the graphic, as always. Leading off at shortstop, you have your newest member of the Philadelphia Phillies organization, Trey Turner, batting second. My leadoff man from last year, Kyle Schwarber, is DHing today. JT catching, batting third. Derek Hall gets the nod at first in the cleanup spot. Nick Castellanos, fifth in right field. Bryson Stott at second base, batting sixth. Alec Boehm, seventh at third base. Jake Cave gets the start in left field, batting eighth. And then Brandon Marsh, the center fielder acquired at the deadline last year, gets the start in the 9-hole. Obviously, Nola is your starting pitcher, man. Scotty, when you look at this lineup, obviously you're missing Reese for the year. Bryce is not going to be back for quite a little while. What does anything stick out to you? Any questions? What are you looking at in this lineup here?
Yeah, so the first thing that comes to my mind, and mind you, this is maybe this is an amateur question.
No such
Cave,
thing.
Jake Cave. Talk to me about Jake Cave, because this is a new face, new name on the squad, right? What are we looking for from Jake Cave here?
Listen,
Obviously,
man,
the bottom of the lineup.
As many questions you have about Jake Cave, I myself have about Jake Cave. There's no solidified answer with this dude. Now, tore it up in spring training, had the best batting average, out of any hitter in spring training, right? He's a right-handed left fielder. Think he has a decent arm in the field, not positive. I mean, instead of Schwarber and Castellanos in your corners defensively, you have Cave and Castellanos. Maybe he's better than Schwarber in left field. I haven't seen enough to know that answer. That's hopefully right. Now, when it comes to the plate, he's your 8-hole hitter. So him and Marsh at the bottom of this order, you are just looking to turn the order over and try to get on base for Turner and Schwarber and JT. Obviously, Marsh more so than Cave being in the 9-hole, but that's Jake Cave's job as well if he's ever to lead off an inning at the bottom of this lineup. He can hit for some power. Obviously, like I said, the average was there in the spring. It could be worse, I guess, right? When you're talking injuries, it could be worse than Jake Cave. He's an unknown. I'll tell you this much. I think he gets a hit today. I'll throw that out there for you. He gets a hit, whether it be off of Jacob DeGrom or this Rangers bullpen. Jake Cave will get a hit today in his major league debut, or for the Phillies.
Yes, sir. We'll have to check the odds on that. I may have to tail you there.
I like plus 200.
I thought it was interesting though. Derek Hall getting the 4-hole there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this to me was a little more expected because Hall does one thing not extraordinarily well, but it's the thing that he has the most strength in, and that's hitting for pop, hitting for power. I was interested to see if they went with him or Castellanos just because that's where Castellanos started the year last year. Yes, that's under Joe Girardi, but Rob Thompson is a player's manager. He's a player's coach, and I was interested to see if he gave that little, that little pat on the bump to Castellanos, that little vote of confidence to give him that. Now he's in the 5-hole. It's not
how are we feeling about Castellanos? I know this is kind of your guy in a sense. So I know, coming off of last season, it's a guy we expected a lot from, especially once Bryce went down last year. Is really JT that kind of took that leadership role on most aspects. So what are we expecting from Castellanos? And maybe I should ask this in a couple different ways. What are we expecting from Castellanos today? What are you looking for? And then as we progress from through the season, how are your expectations? How can he meet those as we progress through this season?
Nick Castellanos' numbers in the spring, do not jump off the page at you, right? They're not eye-popping. They're not glamorous, anything. But he hit for some power. He hit some home runs, opposite field, deep center field. We know he can pull it to left field, obviously. Yeah. But his eyes, his plate discipline was so much better than it was last season by a million light years. That is what I'm looking for out of Nick Castellanos today, to take that from spring training into meaningful baseball games, meaningful at-bats and plate appearances. I need to continue to see that Nick Castellanos plate discipline, getting on base if you have to by taking pitches, working a count, whatever it is in the middle of this lineup, just doing your job and passing the baton. We know he can hit for power. As in terms of the season, he is the biggest X factor in the lineup. You're already missing Reese. You need power from the right side of the plate. We know what Schwarber can do. We know what Harper can do when he's back. Hall. You need power from the right side of the plate to balance this lineup. Without Reese, Castellanos has to step up. I think he hit sub 270 last year. His average wasn't terrible. He didn't hit for power. And yes, while I don't believe he is a 30-plus home run guy, he hit 34 in Cincinnati the year before he came over. I don't think that's really him, right? I think that was an outlier. However, he should be giving you over 20.
Yeah.
And he should be driving the ball in all directions and using the gaps. Castellanos is a doubles machine. You didn't see a ton of that last year either. So in terms of meeting my expectations, power numbers have to go up, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
On base percentage has to go up, and just that discipline, man, and looking like you're mentally there, like you're mentally ready. The thing that I loved hearing from him this offseason, because most players shy away from it, especially in a city like this, he took the blame. Yeah. He took the criticism, and he basically said, my head wasn't here last year, whether it be the money and the contract moving, because he didn't sign almost until the season was starting with the lockout and all. So he met the team late. He got equipped late, moving across the country, or not across the country, he's in Cincinnati. You get my point. Moving, new house, Ben Simmons' house, had that bad energy out of there. And then just the struggles to start, he couldn't snap out of it. He put in the work this offseason, spent more time with his family, with his kids. He had a newborn last year, obviously. So he had that going on. I'm excited to see what Nick Castellanos can produce this year.
So what's your, and maybe it's leash isn't the better word, but what's your leash with Castellanos? Like, how much time do we give him before we start turning up the heat on him if he starts out this season? Now, God willing, let's hope that he starts out fast, starts out on a roll, starts out focused. But what type of leash are we working with as far as before we turn the heat up on Castellanos?
I don't really.
Or do you give him as much time as he needs? I guess.
And the issue is the Bryce injury as well. Like you don't have wiggle room.
You don't have a lot of options.
To me. And even I said this to George yesterday as well. Even if Castellanos is struggling and he gets bumped down the order, there's still always, just as a fan at least, that glimmer of hope and that there's some danger there from the opponent's point of view.
Yeah, that's
Nick Castellanos is the 7-hole hitter, right? He might not be hitting he might not be on at all. But the fact that he's in the bottom of this lineup because of how deep and talented and dangerous it is, that itself can bring him confidence as well. So to me, I don't really think he has a leash. You gave him the money. You gave him the years.
You got to go with him.
Bryce is out. You're already missing Reese. You're riding with this guy, right? And you're hoping he can dig himself out from last year.
He's like the Tobias Harris of the Phillies.
Yeah, actually, that is about as perfect as you could of an analogy.
He's literally Tobias Harris, but in a Phillies version. So you mentioned Reese Hoskins. Obviously, we know he's done for the season, and we don't need to speculate on the contract if he's going to be here next year, anything like that. But are you expecting to miss anything today? You're going to miss, or do you feel that you're going to miss Reese Hoskins a lot? And do you think that that's something that will show more over the season, or do you think that that's something you'll see instantly today? Because obviously he brings a lot of power to the lineup. He eats a lot of pitches as well. He has a good eye for the ball. So what are your feelings regarding, obviously, filling in Derek Hall for Reese here? And does that make your outfield play better? Does that make your defense better?
So to me, losing Reese hurts. Obviously, you were so excited with the acquisition of Trey Turner to see the lineup from last year. Add that you wanted to see it fully healthy, right? You want to see
Reese
what
is my guy, by the way. Everybody,
I know. That's why
Reese
it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt you to hear this, probably.
Yeah,
I don't view it as big of a deal as other people might. Now, I'm not saying it's not a big deal. It sucks. Yeah. He's a leader in the clubhouse. He's very divisive. He's either a fan favorite, you love him, or you hate his fielding and you wanted him pulled in the wild card round, right?
Yeah.
To me, you're not really losing much in the field. Sure, is he probably a little better than Derek Hall? Maybe, but you're not losing a ton there. Yeah. Batting. Derek Hall's not going to hit 30-plus home runs. He's not going to play enough to hit 30-plus home runs. You're going to miss production. Yeah. However, Derek Hall does one thing, like I said earlier in the show, that is his strength. He can hit for power. So if Derek Hall plays consistently throughout the year at first base, he's not pulled for lefties every 3 games, whatever the case is. Derek Hall is going to hit over 20 home runs. I'm throwing that out to you now.
Yeah.
So to me, from a production standpoint, I don't think you're going to – I don't think you get this comment, right? I just don't view it as that. The person, it sucks that it was a contract year for him. He might have played his last game as a Philadelphia Philly already.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
But as far as this team goes moving forward, I really don't view it like all right. It's not Nola or Wheeler.
Right.
It's not Bryce out for the year. It's not Trey. It's not Turner. It's not Short. Like the Reese is like number 8 or 9 on the no list, right?
Yeah.
So while you don't want anybody to miss the year,
he's one guy you could afford for.
Yeah.
You hate to say that. You hate to say that, of course.
But I would even say this. Obviously, people are going to take this and run with it. The Phillies would have a bigger hole at center field, losing Brandon Marsh for the year, than they would Nick, because then you're starting that. Who are you putting in center field? You just traded for Christian Pache, who hits under 100 in this. You know what I mean? You traded Matt Vierling in the offseason. So the dip off, again, Derek Hall is not Reese Hoskins. He doesn't have the eye. He's not going to hit for 30-plus. He can still give you pop in the middle of this lineup. And that, by the way, is why he's in the 4-hole from the jump right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With that being said, my man, let's move over to probably our funnest segment of our pregame shows over here on DSM. That is our best bets segment. So let's get into it. Phillies Rangers opening day. If you look at the top here, the spoiler alert for our predictions later on in the show, Phillies money line, everybody, plus 115. I know it's Jacob deGrom. I get it. The Phillies are a better team. Your defending National League champions are going to come out, and they are going to win this game on the road today. So Phillies money line at plus value. To be honest, I don't know how many times this year you're going to get them at plus value. It's going to take an opponent like Jacob deGrom. It's going to take being on the road against the Braves or it's going to take a very limited amount of opportunities for them to be plus money on the money line. I like them here today on the road to start the season.
Opening day. How are you not laying your squad money line? Come on, guys. Come on. you got it. You got to bet on the Phillies opening day W. Nothing better than that.
Absolutely, man. And then you move on. I mean, I got the jersey on. It's your next purchase.
Yes, sir.
He lit it up in the World Baseball Classic on the biggest stage. He lit it up coming back to Clearwater in spring training. Trey Turner total bases over 1.5 at plus 140. Again, same thing, same sentiment as the Phillies. The only reason that is plus 140 is because of who the pitcher is.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line. You are not going to get this opportunity much. Like I said earlier, not that Trey has had a lot of success against Jacob deGrom. He's seen the most plate appearances. He's had the most success. He's homered off of deGrom in the past, 11 for 46. I think Trey gets 2+ bases today, whether that's, one rip down the line, whether he takes one over the fence. I don't know. 2 singles, whatever the case may be. He's the table setter today. Trey Turner over 1.5 bases at plus 140. We threw around a couple different options for this 5th and final one right here, but Aaron Nola over 5.5 Ks at minus 135 on DraftKings. You mentioned the contract here. I mentioned the matchup versus deGrom. He cannot get behind. This lineup has not seen him often. He's been a league leader in this statistic for the last couple of seasons. Nola to get 6+ Ks to me almost seems too good to be true.
Yeah, that's exactly how I was looking at it, man. Because I know last year, if I saw anything close to that, I was laying it each and every time. That's a smash every time.
Yeah.
So, you get a fresh Nola coming off. He's like all the motivation in the world, right? New contract, going against DeGrom, one of the best. So, I'm expecting a great day from Nola here. But I love the props all around, man. Opening day, Trey Turner. You gotta rely on your dogs, right? Your big stars. So. I like these plays, especially the plus money and the Phillies money line and the Trey Turner bases, man.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So, Scotty, without further ado, before we give our predictions, which I think we just did with the best bets, but let's get into our players of the game here. I will start for you. I'm going with Aaron Nola, man. We talked about him a bunch throughout these 25, 26 minutes here on the pregame show. He is the key for me. He is everything today for multiple reasons. I don't know what you're getting out of DeGrom. So I'm just going to expect I'm getting Jacob DeGrom. I'm not going to be hopeful or, go out on a whim and say he's only going to throw 4 or 5 innings. I don't know. So if I get DeGrom for 6, 7, 8 innings, I need my ace, my opening day starter, to be on point. You cannot dig a hole against DeGrom today. You cannot be down 2-0, 3-1, 3-0 in the first handful of innings against this guy. That's a hole you will not climb out of, I don't believe, today. I need Nola to be on point from the jump today in Texas, and I think he will be. I think Aaron Nola shows up. I got Aaron Nola going through 6 strong. Maybe he gets through 6 1/3, 6 2/3, and does his job extremely well today. I got his over in Ks. I'm going to go Nola through 6, over 6 plus Ks, and I'm going to go 1 or 2 runs given up from Aaron Nola today.
I like it. I like it. It kind of stays on the same page that I'm on here with my player of the game. Ultimately, I do agree with you. I think Nola has to come out dealing today, and I think he will. I honestly do. I'm going to go with Trey Turner. I'm going to go with the new guy, the Swiss Army knife, right? The guy that can do a little bit of everything. And the guy that you mentioned has the best numbers against DeGrom, right? He's the only one with this many at-bats, right?
46.
So, and he's the only one to homer off of DeGrom. So I'm looking for something big from Trey today. And I think big, it doesn't have to be a homer. I'll be honest with everybody out there. I did lay on a Trey Turner homer just again. It's opening day. It's our new guy. It's our new toy, right? We got to use him to the fullest.
Right, the shiny new toy you open up on Christmas.
I think we laid him for the 2 total bases in the game. I think something as simple as a clutch single, a clutch double could be something that could turn this game and end up winning it. So with going with the score like I'm predicting here, which I'll go ahead and put it out there, I'm going with the Phillies 3-2 in this one. It's going to be a lower scoring game, I would say, for the Phillies, especially in their lineup. But I got the Phillies winning this 3-2, and I think that's what makes Trey Turner and what he's able to produce today, even if it's one at bat that he's successful on, could prove to be the difference in this game. So I'm going to go with Trigger Trey in this one.
So Scotty's got Trey Turner having his fingerprint on this game in a big way. Maybe it comes late. Who knows? We laid his bases. We laid Nola K's. I got the Phillies coming away with a win too. Clearly, if we're taking their money line, but I have a score of 4-3. You have 3-2. We're very similar there. Yeah. I do think this is a close ball game. I think it's a well-pitched ball game. I will be shocked if this is, Nola's pulled in the early 6th, DeGrom's out early, and this is a 5-4 game through 6 innings. I will be really surprised. But this lineup surprised me all the time last fall, right? Yeah. So you never know.
All the way through the playoffs.
But I think the World Series. I think there's going to be a cap on what the Phillies can do without Reese and Bryce to start the year. Not that they're not ultra talented still, not that they're not going to produce. You're missing the MVP right now. That's the bottom line.
You got to get used to as well, right? They got to adjust. They got to learn how to play without that.
Yeah,
that monster.
He's not in your 3-hole every night, right? So Phillies 4-3, Phillies 3-2. Trey Turner and Aaron Nola as your stars of the game. Yes, Phillies money line, Trey bases, Nola K's as your best bets, guys. That is going to wrap up this opening day edition of DSM pregame live Phillies Rangers preview. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit that follow button. We greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to smash that bell and smash that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Is the only spot to catch these pregame live shows, and is also the best spot to get your thoughts and questions pulled up and be interactive throughout each and every one of our shows. For myself, for Scotty, ring that bell and let's have one hell of an opening day. Have a great rest of your night.